Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jan. I'm the CEO of Acquire.Fi. I have both Nathan and Andrew with me today. What's up, guys?
How's it
Ooh,
going?
Another day in paradise.
another day in crypto.
Getting
Trump attacking Elon, and the market is basically dumping.
so they're fighting over the big beautiful bill and Thomas Massey.
Mm, yeah.
God
Yeah, I
damn.
mean Trump is consistent if nothing else. If you disagree with him, if you go against his what he's pushing for, he's gonna put you on blast.
Yeah.
No,
Not
I,
that I
I
agree.
get
Like
that.
I love Thomas Massey. I'm a huge Massey fan, and I think the big beautiful bill is a big pile of shit for the most part. And it seems kind of like anybody that's going against it, not falling in line, is getting put on blast. So at least Elon's standing up for him. I don't think it's going to go into the full on accusations of pedophilia like last time, but we'll see.
Oh God.
I hope.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
I
But
hope we
things have
don't, we don't
been
get banned.
markets have been looking good. Bitcoin looking like it's coiling up to blow up to the top side. So it looks like my bearish predictions are going to be proven wrong here.
Perhaps. I don't know. Maybe
Perhaps.
not.
We'll see. We're still right on that line. We're still under that like 109 previous little tip there, but we're getting close.
Yeah.
Oh, things are good.
So
I think today we're doing a little bit shorter version of our stream, as there are both, is it Canadian or US National Day?
It's
Canadian.
Canada Day, the
It's
4th of July.
Canada.
No one
Canada's
has
Independence Day. Canada's
There
Day. Yeah. We don't like to
Well, Mr.
celebrate.
Canada,
US.
what are you seeing? I see quite bearish movement, but
Yeah. So it looks like we've been talking about this resistance zone, right? This reload zone. Generally, when you're in these red boxes, markets are kind of held with resistance. As you can see, we came right up against a trend line pretty much as well. So pretty tough level to kind of break out of that 109-ish. We are sitting against some moving average support. So I'm hoping that this is just mostly like a front run de-risking for the long weekend coming up. Market.
Thanks, Andrew. We'll see you next time.
wow.
Oh, the guy pedaling the bike, powering his internet in the basement must have got off to hit the head.
Started well.
We'll get him back here in a minute, but if you're tuning in, this is we do this twice a week. Cover everything from news headlines, market outlooks, and charts when Andrew's internet's working. But some big stuff going on today. If you're not familiar with who we are and what we do, we're the largest M&A marketplace in Web3 and one of the biggest OTC desks. If either of those are of interest to you, we've got some great deals going on right now. We just put a few new listings live on the marketplace for M&A, and we've got some really hot OTC deals. Now, most of those deals are going to be private deals only, so they're not going to be listed publicly in our Telegram or in our on our marketplace. But if you are in the market for OTC deals right now, we have some great deals we're working with some foundations on, as well as some top projects that have very good vesting deals. Feel free to hit us up on X, hit us up in our Telegram. We'll make sure we get those links put in the video description if you guys are interested in some OTC deals. Now, these are larger deals. Most of these you're looking at minimum ticket for the smaller ones of 300 to 500K for a min ticket. And for like a foundation and the top tier ones, it's usually closer to $1 million. There's some negotiating room there. But if that's of interest to you guys, hit us up and we can get the paperwork in place and share those details across.
Yeah, and I think in the future we'll also share some of the M&A deals here or go through them. But yeah, let's go back to the graph. Thanks.
Yeah,
Nathan.
sorry about that.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening in your basement again, Andrew.
I don't know. I think it's my VPN, but hopefully I don't drop out again.
Have to save the day on Canada Day.
Okay, yeah, whatever. So I wanted to jump into the 4-hour charts. As you can see, we are double topping out here right now. Not really what we want to see. Maybe we have to pull back down into this 200 SMA and then hopefully start forming some kind of structure.
All right, strike two.
Oh wow.
He's really trying to get to that Canada Day party early.
It's just like, all right, he's in a busy afternoon.
Now, I think what he's getting at, we'll see if he makes it back here. I think he's getting at is looking like maybe some cool down here. Holiday weekends like this are usually pretty low volatility with markets being closed extra days, at least in the TradFi side of things. And kind of some pivotal key points. I think at least the guys that I follow saying around like 106, I think it's the 5 EMA is in that zone right there. If we break that, likely going to test back down around like the 103, 104K range. But if we hold here, if we push up to like 108, 109, very likely within the next 2 weeks in the first part of July, they're saying new all-time highs, possibly up to like 120 in there. So regardless, even if we see a little downturn here, I don't think we're going into a bear. Yes, not like we're going back into a bear market, but just some corrective postures, a little, maybe gearing up for the possible announcement of rate cuts in July, which are becoming, I think the betting rates are going up on that every day right now.
Yeah, and I have to say also, like, the Bitcoin ETF flows have been lately like $500 million. Like, I'm surprised that we haven't broken upwards, and I think like people are really they're basically already saying like there's going to be a rate cut, but despite all of this.
Yeah, I mean they're planning on doing 2 cuts at least, right? So,
but to be honest, I'm really afraid if we are doing rate cuts and we go back to 1%, like money supply is gonna go brrr. Obviously, it's gonna be good for gold, Bitcoin, and other risk assets. But like, imagine the inflation. Imagine like how much a burger will cost. Again, he went away. All right,
strike 3. He's out.
That's it.
We tried.
Nathan. Yeah, and that's it. We can't help him today.
Well, yeah, talking about, you're just talking about the issues that are going to happen with inflation, just the overall, economy. Obviously, we're speaking from a perspective of crypto. Most of the people here are holding, digital assets like Bitcoin, like some of the top alts, that we're frequently talking about. But at the end of the day, the potential collapse of the US dollar, or the market's turning bad, it could be very good for Bitcoin. It could be good for us, but we all have family, we all have friends. We don't want to see the rest of the world's economy in the tanks. People going into recession, having to deal with that kind of stuff, just so we can pump our bags a little bit. We can have both, right? We can have a strong economy, we can have good markets, and we can see Bitcoin go up. That's obviously the scenario that we want. But why is this happening? Why are we seeing potential recession? Why are we seeing markets on the brink of collapse around the world, not just in the U.S. but all over the place? Well, this is it right here. Doesn't really matter who gets elected, Republican or Democrat. Fiat-based systems around the world. This is every single one of their charts. You could replace these numbers with U.S., U.K., the euro, whatever. It's going to look very similar to this. Fiat currencies are a very broken model that the last remnants, the last bastion of these boomers and the powers that be are holding on to. And hopefully within the next decade or so, we can get rid of and get back onto a gold type standard where currencies are based in something real, which not a lot of people maybe know that. Probably crypto people probably know that, but your average normally probably doesn't understand that the dollar is backed by nothing. It used to be tied to gold. Most fiat currencies before they became fiat were tied to gold. So it had capital constraints around how much you could print, what you could do with interest rates, etc. But the smart people figured out that they could control the currency by simply having fiat currency pegged to the full faith and trust of the local government, and this is the result.
Yeah, anyone that reads books, I would recommend History of Money. It basically tells you like what happened in Rome. Rome was backed by real gold coins at first, and eventually they just started printing out or made first silver backed with gold. Then that wasn't enough. They started printing copper, silver, and gold coins, and eventually there was no gold left. So, I mean, this is what politicians and governments are doing. Like the national debts everywhere are going up. Oh, there we go. Yeah, broken money. Yeah, like this is the
Lynn Alden. She's fantastic. Yeah. This is another great one I'd check out. Is The Creature from Jekyll Island?
Yeah, that's dark though. That's dark.
By Edward Griffin.
If you're really gonna go deep, I totally recommend that. But yeah, like every year we're seeing more debt, and at what point will the U.S. government will be like, hey, we can't pay anymore, we will default? And that's what everyone are saying now. Like, look at the dollar; it's been going down a lot compared to euro, compared to Swiss franc, compared to pounds. I mean, things are not looking great. And obviously, Trump is also promoting this beautiful bill, which is adding, I think I read,
5 trillion.
Oh, $5 trillion more.
Between 5 and 10, they estimate.
Yeah, like that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But yeah, again, guys, one way of covering yourself is Bitcoin. I'm trying to educate everyone in my family, like, hey, well, you guys should at least own a little bit of Bitcoin now and then. It's a good hedge, even gold. But yeah, like
and this isn't a hate Trump channel. I mean, he's done lots of good things as well. The tariffs that everybody are hating, they brought in one of the stories we're going to cover today. It's over $121 billion in tariff revenue. They're saying June is projected to bring in another 21 million in tariffs. We've got a story, the tariff negotiations continue to fall in the U.S. favor. So that, things like that are going to be bringing a big, a lot of tax revenue. Whether or not the long-term impacts of tariffs are good or not, whether they, fall into a free market, laissez-faire overall economy, I don't know about that, but he's done some good things for the economy. He is very supportive of Bitcoin. He's been pushing for a lot of opening the U.S. back up to crypto. Their income tax for all crypto assets is now on the table of deleting or capital gains tax. So there is good and there is bad with this, but at the end of the day, this chart kind of helps you kind of zoom out and put it in perspective. Everybody likes to argue blue tie, red tie. End of the day, like they're doing the same thing. Like they're going the opposite ways around the circle to get to the same endpoint, which is fiat sucks. Buy some Bitcoin. A great Trump had a great speech earlier this week talking about the effects of Bitcoin. And how it's actually helping inflation, because traditionally, investors, what are they going to do? They're not going to keep their money in dollars. They need to put it somewhere they can hedge against it. They do things like put it into real estate. They put it into stocks, right? Well, that pushes all those prices up, which means other people, young people are trying to buy houses. Houses are more expensive. Stocks go up. If you're not already invested in them, you're SOL. Well, Bitcoin is an alternative now that you're seeing billions and billions and billions of dollars flow into. So it's actually putting less pressure on other assets like houses, et cetera. Making some of that stuff more affordable, which I thought was a really interesting factoid that I had not thought about. One of the other powers of Bitcoin there that we're seeing, one of the other effects, I guess, of Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I think with houses, I've been dealing with this for a long time. Like, is house actually a good investment or not? Houses you can build endlessly. Obviously, like if you're in Australia, there's limited amount of like things where you can build. But like in the long term, I think housing will go down. Like I know that it sounds ridiculous, but compared to Bitcoin and other hard assets that you can't really multiply, I think Bitcoin is the best thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not a real estate expert, but land, they ain't making any more of it. Houses, they can make whatever they want. Bitcoin, not making any more of it. True. So, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we're not really a real estate speculating channel here, but interesting to see the effect on that.
Just wait on RWA.
That's true. That's gonna be something that'll be worth talking about here very, very soon. Here we go. This is what I was talking about before. Record 121 billion in tariff revenue so far. Expecting our $27 billion coming in just the month of June. So, I mean that's a lot of money coming in pretty fast here. Looks like we're on pace to do well over $200 billion in tariff revenue this year.
Yeah, but the problem is that you need $4,000 billion to cover your debt that is coming from the bill. Like,
that's the issue.
This is just a fraction of that. But yeah, good us. Like, good for Trump. He made something good. But yeah, not sure how it will affect the rest of the economy.
We're talking about capital investment, institutional capital coming into Bitcoin ETFs. Ethereum is quickly outpacing everything right now. In the last 7 days, 1.6 billion flowed into Ethereum. You can see Polygon just they're kind of announced they're doing some fundraising. They're getting some potential. I don't know if they have an ETF or what going on there. Bitcoin, Solana, we know about some of these other ones here, but as much news as we're hearing about money flowing into Bitcoin, Ethereum just absolutely ripping.
Yeah, I don't know about this. Like, I'm looking at the ETF flows at the moment, and like Ethereum is still, don't get me wrong, it's looking pretty good, like between $30 to $100 million. But if you look at BTC ETFs, it's every day this month has been a plus, and at least like $100 million. So it's quite that big of a difference, right?
Well, this could be kind of a front-running signal. This could show Ethereum continuing to build momentum. I as much as not a big fan of the tech, that's where the money's going. People that institutions that have higher risk appetite, they're opting to go for Ethereum strategies versus Bitcoin strategies. But we'll see. We'll see who wins the race between now and the end of the cycle here with in terms of appreciation. Right now, Ethereum's been getting its ass kicked.
Yeah, no, I haven't still seen Ethereum to go over 3,000. So before that happens, I'm gonna be very skeptical.
Bitcoin set multiple new all-time highs since the bear market. Ethereum has yet to get back to its all-time high in this market. So even if Ethereum does outperform Bitcoin through the end of the year or through the end of the cycle, whenever that happens, that doesn't necessarily mean it outperformed Bitcoin this cycle. And if it doesn't, that would be the first cycle, in history that, in Ethereum's existence where it hasn't outperformed Bitcoin, if I believe. So that'd be a very interesting signal of what may be to come with a lot of these altcoins here.
But obviously, if you think about the risk reward here, putting some of your money into Ethereum is not the bad thing. It can double still. It's kind of good level. It's been here at 2,500 for a while. I think it just needs a little bit of bullish sentiment. Obviously, if we are going to take Powell away and we're going to reduce the interest rates to 1%, yes, I definitely think Ethereum has a chance of basically outperforming Bitcoin in this cycle. But yeah, I'm still skeptical. Let's see what happens. And obviously, looking at the news every week, what we cover, there's so much bullish news on BTC.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing stories like this. Germany's largest banking group adding Bitcoin trading services or retail accounts. This story, last cycle would have been the most, we'd see a 15% jump in Bitcoin for something like this getting announced. Now these are like sub headlines that pop up every day now. I don't know how many of these stories we've covered over the last year here doing these recordings, but it seems every week. I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got multiple 8 stories lined up yet here, and half of these are Bitcoin announcements. Multiple crypto firms, including Fidelity Assets, have applied for national bank charters. We're seeing more and more banks coming in. JP Morgan was the first one to announce. We're going to see very, very quickly. It's going to be, you're going to go to your bank and you're going to have your option to pull up on your, you open your portfolio in your app or your on your bank account on the web page, and you're going to have US dollar. You're going to have Bitcoin, probably have Ethereum in there, and a couple other of the the top alts. That we're not very far away from that happening. If you would even joked about that a cycle ago, people would have told you you're a moron, and that would that's never going to happen. And here we are.
Bro, I love again how we're going from the first narrative of fuck banks to let's get banks going. Let's just put every exchange into a bank. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I we talked about that on Friday last week. Kind of my long-term thesis of, I get that argument, but here's why I think that still helps us in the long run. So I won't go through that all again, but long story short, I don't think we see DeFi ever get mass adoption without people being routed through CeFi first. So can't we're gonna bend it to our will.
No, I agree.
Yeah, SEC acknowledging Grayscale's ETF plans. Grayscale was one of the early guys to file, and they are now coming out with more and more with ETH, XRP, Sol, ADA. Pretty much all the top 10 alts are getting a lot of love in both institutional adoption, ETFs, etc. We talked, I think, a week or two ago. I kind of see this as our backdoor to an alt season. I don't think retail starts the alt season this year, or this cycle. I think it's, we continue to see this institutional adoption. We've already seen a MicroStrategy-esque approach to BitTensor, to Hyperliquid. We've got, ETFs coming online for Sol, XRP, Solana, ADA, all of these, top altcoins. I think we see institutional demand start to push, and I think institutional demand is what kicks off this alt season, this cycle. We've already seen how many other trends get blown out of the water with the 4-year cycle. Things are changing. Institutional adoption is changing things. I know people say that every year. Oh, 4 year, every cycle. 4-year cycle is broken. Potential super cycle is blah blah blah. Well, we actually have seen the 4-year cycle broken in many ways already this cycle. Does that mean we're going to have a 10-year long Bitcoin bull run? Like some people believe, they say, oh, when gold got its ETF, it went on a 10-year bull run. That'd be sweet. I'd love that, but I don't know if that's necessarily what's going to happen. But we certainly, I don't think we're going to see the exact, November drop off, straight down for a year, and then slow, nothing happens for another year, and then, halving comes and we go like clockwork, like it has been so this far to this point with this industry. I think those things are going to change, and whoever out there can figure out what the new trend is, what the new cycle looks like, is going to be a very wealthy person if they can be one of the first ones to figure that out.
No, I agree. But I also say here, remember, Grayscale has very high fees. So this is bullish overall, but I still think like, hey, there's going to be better ETFs coming along. But you're absolutely right. Like if you look at the previous cycles, this cycle has been so much different. Obviously, we did have Pump That Fund that took a lot of liquidity away from normie people. But like overall, like people just don't have that much money. And maybe now when the interest rates are going to 1% and we see a huge brrr in the money printer, maybe we see something else. But I do agree with you. Like every cycle is so different. And maybe like, as you said, gold had its 10 years. Maybe it's Bitcoin's time to have its 10 years.
Yeah, they say the only consistent is change. So gotta be able to adapt to these markets.
I agree.
Some big news that we've seen just coming out here today: Robinhood launching staking for ETH and Solana. Robinhood, notoriously a shit place to invest in crypto, but it is showing that this is where apps like Robinhood are where a lot of normies get their first crypto at. Like it or not, these guys are notorious for freezing trades for both GameStop as well as crypto when things are too volatile. They've been taken to court multiple times over stuff like this. Not financial advice, but if it was me, I would not be investing through Robinhood. You can spend 10 minutes and figure out how to get on a centralized exchange, which is somewhat better than Robinhood, and eventually figure out how to get into DeFi and self-custody. But this is again another sign of a bullish adoption that's going to help. All the ducks are lining up, like all the pins are lining up in a beautiful, beautiful row here. When eventually we get the last final catalyst, whatever it is that sends this market, man, it's got a lot of potential to be a very violent blow off top whenever this happens.
Remember also Robinhood did delist Solana when the FTX thing happened, and they listed I think Solana at $24 or $30. So yeah, I wouldn't trust Robinhood, but obviously they are really trying to compete with Coinbase at the moment. Like I see Coinbase and Robinhood going hand in hand and being like, all right, we want to be the biggest players.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, they do a lot. They've obviously one of kind of the big first apps that made, you know, stock trading accessible on your smartphone, and it's super easy, you know, almost gamified, socialified manner. You know, they put together a smart business model there. Problem is how they've ran that business is sketchy to say the least. Not someone I would trust. Not somewhere I would trust to keep my funds.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I truly believe that DEXs, perpetual DEXs, are going to be the ones that are eventually be the most popular ones, where you don't need a centralized exchange and you can trade whatever you want 24/7.
Well, speaking of, this is a huge news along those lines. Stocks now live, 60 U.S. equities now available to trade 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, which is interesting. They don't follow the traditional times, but they don't also follow the traditional stock exchange limitations. What is it, 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon or whatever? But they also are not 24/7 like crypto yet. This isn't just live on Kraken. I believe Coinbase has it, as well as it's on Solana as well. I think on Solana you can actually trade on Jupiter. Yeah. So you can trade, you can swap Fartcoin for NVIDIA directly on Jupiter, or you can sell your NVIDIA for Fartcoin. Either way.
I think this is actually very bullish for crypto. Like, this is how we get a lot of on-chain users, and especially like if you think third world countries, Africa, they don't have the chance to like opt in and actually trade US stocks. There's also here in Asia, Indonesia. This opens a lot of doors. I think this is very bullish, and people don't understand how much liquidity will come because of this. But yeah, very kudos, very bullish.
Not only is it opening up, you know, new capital markets that didn't exist before. As you mentioned, a lot of countries where you can't trade U.S. stocks if you're, you know, in certain countries. It's bringing all that capital in, but also because it's open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're going to have firms that would traditionally only be trading within the normal the windows. You got to imagine every single trading desk in the U.S. right now is scrambling to get a new shift that'll work the overnight shift now, because they can still trade you know, stocks around the clock. So you're going to have increased volumes, and that's going to be all coming through crypto platforms. So traditional stock markets at this point, anyways, cannot stay open. They're not going to be trading after hours. So we're going to see some wild stuff with the CME gaps and things like that. We're going to have overnight CME gaps that are drastically more volatile than they were before, because now they're, you know, stocks are being traded on crypto platforms 24 hours a day. So opens up an entirely new dynamic. I imagine you're going to see massive boost in transaction volumes for you know, on-chain activity, just because of being able to trade stocks now.
Yeah, and I think also new strategies, probably. Like, imagine you could not do 24/7 trading before. Now you can. Now you can hedge your position in a totally different way. But yeah, so this is very bullish.
Now, my question is, how long before one of these oracles that's doing the 24-hour price data matching between Web3 and Web2 gets hacked and just completely fucks somebody's stock trades up?
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Like, that once that's going to happen the first time, like, how are the regulation going to see it, and how are they, like, are we getting money back, or is there going to be some kind of like stop losses or what?
Yeah, that's something that's going to, you know, we're just kind of entering the mainstream adoption phase here. There's going to be growing pains. Like, you get ready for FUD in the markets, get ready for all kinds of, you know, false flags and bad actors and all kinds of stuff happening with, you know, everything that's going on with the, you know, new adoption, with stocks coming on chain, with RWA coming on chain, with you know, the deregulation of crypto in general in the US, new companies coming online. Like, there's gonna be bad stuff that happens. There's gonna be manipulation of all kinds, and there's gonna be lawsuits and regulations, and there's gonna be FUD, and there's gonna be FOMO. So just be ready. we've seen a lot of crazy, wild shit in this market. Well, now you've got BlackRock, now you've got Fidelity, now you've got JP Morgan involved here. If you think things were messy before, get ready for a whole new era, because things are just getting started. So I imagine whatever it is that sends, kind of puts the axe on this bull market. There always seems to be something that happens during the bear market that kind of is the final capitulation event. We've seen XTX, FTX, we've seen Luna, we've seen different hacks and different companies fall apart. Now we're dealing with like institutional money. We have the MicroStrategy leverage upon leverage stuff going. We've got RWA and stocks traded 24/7. So who knows what this industry holds for us, but at the end of the day, if you're truly in this market for the underlying beliefs and the foundational principles of blockchain and crypto, we'll get through it. There'll be some rough times, but take it on the chin, keep your emotions level, and make sure you have a long-term plan in place, and don't put your money on Robinhood.
No, I agree. I just watched Big Short when I was coming here and traveling, and I could see that happen with all of these MicroStrategy companies coming live. Like, you don't know what shit they have behind the scenes, like what kind of borrowing they've done, or what's their book really like,
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
You have random coffee shops like saying they're gonna buy billions of dollars of BTC.
Yeah, I think
in reality, it's a zombie company that haven't done anything for a while. Like,
yeah,
all right, yep.
Vanity Coffee buying $1 billion in Bitcoin, because why not? Why wouldn't you?
There we go. There we go.
So hopefully they're buying spot. We'll see. Maybe they're taking the MicroStrategy approach. Maybe they're adding to this leverage upon leverage thing. Again, it sounds too good to be true. Usually is. Can only kick those cans so far down the road, but we'll see what happens. Is this leading up to a late 26, early 27 multi-trillion-dollar bailout of the crypto markets like we've seen for banks in the auto industry in the US? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Satoshi will be rolling over in his grave at that point, but we'll see. It's going to get wild, folks.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan governor says they're working to establish a Bitcoin crypto reserve. There it is. I was saying there's got to be a Borat meeting there somewhere with that. But again, every nation state, every major institution around the world is getting on board with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin arms race is ratcheting up very, very. We're reaching Cuban Missile Crisis mode here pretty quick. As soon as the U.S. government announces they're officially buying, we're going to be on full-on nation-state FOMO to get your hands on Bitcoin before Uncle Sam. I am nothing else. Don't look at the chart. Look at what's going on behind the scenes here. That DCA, get ready for when all this explodes. Maybe it's not this cycle. Maybe it's next cycle. But if you're just DCAing all the way through, you're gonna have some great buys. And when Bitcoin someday is $500,000, $1 million a Bitcoin, down the road, zoom out, you won't be worried about these few months here where maybe there was a little up and down. Maybe Bitcoin dropped back to 98,000 or 90,000 or whatever, and it'll be a blip on the map that you won't even remember.
No, I agree. But yeah, like you said, every nation is going to buy BTC, and it's happening already. So China's throwing their hat back in the ring. China, famously has been in and out of Bitcoin and crypto, I don't know, a dozen times now over the last since Bitcoin was incepted here. In fact, most of the Bitcoin mining used to be done in China until they made that illegal. What was that, last cycle or 5 or 6 years ago? But China apparently getting back into the Bitcoin game. The public security company stock surging 30% after they've traded or obtained a license from the Chinese government to trade Bitcoin and crypto. If all of China comes back on board into crypto, we've seen multiple times in the past what happens there. Bitcoin blows up. All of the favorite Asian tokens absolutely just rocket. That could also be an impetus for a big altcoin surge here coming up. But yeah, stars are aligning. Yeah, I don't believe in this China thing because they have such a hard capital flows, and it would be such a bad thing for yuan that they're trying to recover. And obviously, they have their own economic problems with the tariffs. They have the housing bubble that just bursts, and it's very bad. So I'm very skeptical. I don't think China will let the people to to buy BTC. Obviously, they've been doing that with mining and other things, but I don't know. I'm skeptical about China.
We shall see. I think it's going to come down to, at the end of the day, if they're the one of the only nations that's not buying and not leveraging it. They don't want to fall behind. Not to say that the Chinese government isn't buying Bitcoin in the background. They 100% are right now. But not taking a public approach to it, not letting Chinese companies take some sort of Bitcoin holding strategy. That if they get too far behind in that'll be a bad look for them. They'll be missing out on an opportunity. So I'd imagine that could be the impetus to push them into something like that. As far as retail adoption, we'll see.
Yeah, but they're very big on gold. Like I've seen their inflows lately, and it's been quite rough.
China's been buying up all the gold around the world for a decade now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, again, another semiconductor company buying $384 million worth of Bitcoin. We see these stories ad nauseum nowadays. It's one thing after another, company after company, nation state after nation state, stocking up on Bitcoin. There's only so much supply out there.
Yeah.
So get your hands on what you can. But yeah, that's about all I had for today. A lot more of the same, but probably the two biggest stories coming out this last couple of days here are the RWA place seeing stocks come live on Jupiter, on Kraken, on Coinbase. Big step for this industry and big step for the RWA sector.
No, and that's gonna grow. Like we're gonna see everything going on chain. You can trade it anywhere. There's so much different benefits of doing this. If you realize how much liquidity are just sitting on the sideline and wanting to participate in the markets. But yeah, like we bring you guys every week new news, and it seems to be very positive. I can't even say how many times we have during the last months either seen someone buying BTC or a new company coming in and be like, oh, I want to buy $2 billion for the BTC. So guys, please, at least DCA, small portion. This is not financial advice, but like at least hedge yourself. The money printer is going to go at some point. Brrr, and when that happens, your money is going to lose value. Read about this, the books that Nathan recommended. And again, we're going to be coming back on Friday. Nathan, any final words?
Stay safe out there. Learn about self-custody. Get your money off of Robinhood and the centralized exchanges if you can. Check out the deal flow we've got going on our Telegram channel and on the marketplace. And if you're interested in some OTC, we've got some very hot deals right now. Literally like top 20 projects. Yeah, hit us up and we can get that over to you.
All right, sounds good. Please like, subscribe, and follow us for next Friday.
We'll see ya.
Ciao.